Hello, everybody. I hope you're all... shut up, Connor. You're not all well, are you? You're not all well. But listen, I hope you've taken time. You've gathered your thoughts. You're feeling a little bit better about what has just happened this afternoon. Leeds United losing out 3-2 to the Cockney Boys. Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. The Champions League winners nearly fell short against an injury-ravaged, an injury-savaged Leeds United side. And by God, we were close. We were so close. Anyway, I hope you've all taken note. I hope you're all doing a little bit better than you were post-game. I have to say, I was working. I've only just finished. And as soon as that penalty was given, my heart just broke. Honestly, it broke. You know why? A lot of you will talk about Histon, Stockport, all these dire games that we've had in our existence, but I had no hope back then. I expected those tragic affairs to happen. This game, I was so proud about how we went about our business against probably the best team we've faced in the past couple of decades in terms of the caliber of their squad right now. And we went toe-to-toe with them with an absolutely battered squad. A battered squad. None of our big hitters. None. Zilch. Nada. Spine of the team removed. And we went into this game and we were so close to getting something. And we deserved something. We deserved something from that game. One hand, I'm annoyed because I feel like we had to get something from that game. Burnley went there and got a 1-1 draw this season. You know, we've had Watford beating Man United 4-1 at home. So the sides at the bottom of the table are able to go against the top sides and get something. So I felt we had to get something meriting our performance. But on the other hand, I'm extremely proud of what happened in that game and how diligently we went about our business and about how splendid so many performances were in that game. So I'm feeling absolutely gutted that we've not come out with anything because we deserved it. But I'm proud as well. I'm proud as well. And I'm going to get into a few points. So I hope you guys stick with me through this. Frank says, we were robbed. Ref must live in Chelsea. We'll get onto that. Tell me about that. We'll get onto that in a little bit. Thank you all so much. Proud of Gelhardt showing their striker instinct. I feel your painful screams, Connor, at the beginning of his match analysis. None of our big hitters, Rafinha. So that's... Okay. Who else? Who else started that game? Who was one of our big hitters? Come on. Come on. Give us a little bit of validation with the injury ravaged squad we had there. You know, we were looking at a side, at least with Pascal Strauchin. Then he got injured in training. Another one of our big hitters. Okay, we had one. Okay, one of the notorious big hitters in our side. You know, we would probably categorize them as Bamford, Phillips, and Rafinha. Come on. I don't know whether or not people are saying that as if, like, you know, we were poor and we should have got something, you know, with the men available. I'm not having that. Click needs to get rid, and Melier, the guy needs some actual coaching on how to distribute the ball, just suicidal playing out from the back. Yeah, we'll get into that. Sam Pigeon says, was sat behind your colleagues at Leeds live today, Connor. They were screaming as much in the press box. For sure, that's great to hear. That is great to hear. Listen, we're going to get onto it. We're going to get onto it. We're going to go into the bits and bats and all this sort of stuff. Okay. So let's start anyway. So what do we think of the lineup, everybody? The lineup we saw, we were a little bit deflated, weren't we? We didn't see Pascal in there. I think all the other injuries we expected, well, we knew about anyway. We didn't see Pascal in there. We saw Luke moved into central defence, and then we saw Jamie Shackleton move out on the right, which I don't think really worked. To be honest, I would have loved to have seen Luke Ayling start right back Charlie Cresswell to come on centre back. I think, you saw Lukaku come on and Cresswell came on at the same time. Straight away, Cresswell's winning 2 aerial duels against him. I thought even when he came on for 6-7 minutes, he was decent. I think he'd have been fine in that role. We saw a lot of moving parts towards the upper end of the field, didn't we? But obviously the most notable one is Dan James went centre forward, and it looked like Tyler Roberts came into central attacking midfield. Dallas in the middle with Adam Forshaw, Harrison on the left, Rafinha on the right. So yeah, it was definitely debatable what went on there. I know a lot of people were screaming for Joe Gelhardt. Reasons to be told there. The guy is, we're going to get into Joffrey in a bit, so stay till the end because we're going to get into him. Guys, there's 400 of you in here now. Make sure you're liking the video as well, just so, I know that you enjoy these sort of post-match deals. Let's get into it. Anyway, the first half, I thought we were really good. We were really, really good. I thought we were aggressive. We were hunting in packs. Everybody. Something we've barely seen this season. Chelsea were being hassled. They were being harried. Thiago Silva didn't like having the ball at his feet, which is very, very rare for someone of his quality. You saw Mendy checking back a couple of times. Leeds were pressing high. Dan James did that to really, really good effect as well. I thought he was really good in the press. It's just sometimes with James, he gets in such good positions. His positional awareness is excellent, but his final product, a lot of the time, it's scuffed with his left, scuffed with his right, or he turns the wrong way. There was a really good opportunity, I think it was in the first half, where he was put through and he checked back on his left foot. It made the angle much better for Rudiger to get back in, and he could have just slipped it in to Tyler Roberts. We had so many of those today. Rafinha, when he went through, we didn't know if it was offside. The ref called it offside, but that had gone to VAR 100%. Just needed to square it to Tyler Roberts. That's a goal. We had so many of these bits of individual skill which led to chances, and that was really, really encouraging. But when in terms of the press, as I say, I thought we were aggressive. We were harrying them. And they didn't get a moment's rest today, Chelsea. I thought centrally, when you were looking at Calvin Phillips being absent, I thought the partnership of Stuart Dallas, I thought the partnership of him and Forshaw, the cohesive nature of those two as a partnership was excellent. They really gave a nice little rearguard in that central space for Leeds United. And you barely saw Loftus-Cheek really breaking through and running at our 2 centre-backs, which is normally what we see. King of caveats here. That's not saying Calvin Phillips is the man who is the man who's at fault for Leeds United letting those chances through. But I just thought Forshaw and Dallas worked really nicely together. So that was a really positive aspect. And I was stunned. I'll be honest with you guys. I thought 20 minutes in we were going to be 2-0 down. I thought they're going to come out absolutely firing. You saw that front three, Chelsea's front three. You thought there's going to be a lot of rotation in there. They're going to be really, really pressing us high, which we naturally don't like. I thought there was going to be many fouls given away by Leeds. But Leeds were really impressive. Leeds were really impressive in being able to break through their line and being able to break into the attacking third and create chances for Dan James, Tyler Roberts, and Rafinha. And I thought that was really, really impressive by Leeds. It was a difference. It was an improvement on what we'd seen against Brentford. It was a much improved performance. I thought against Brentford, we were in cruise control, and then it all went to pot afterwards. In the second half. Mark says, hey up Connor, my lad, really good today. Champions League winners look standard, really unlucky lads. Marched on together, bang on. Yeah, 100%. Connor, we played well today, just unlucky. Forshaw, superb. Dallas, Llorente, not. Guys, just stop picking up on this rubbish. It doesn't matter. It's just, we had all our big hitters in. There. Does that make it better? I don't know why we're focusing on this. Come on, just give us a bit of credit in that department. We had a lot of our big hitters missing today. Am I not allowed to coin the phrase? Come on. Liam Dykes come in and said, first time in ages, I felt that we could create goals 100%. I definitely agree. Furpo's best game. Yeah, we'll get into all of your comments, guys, just because I'm going through the game chronologically anyway. But as I said, the first half in general was really, really impressive for Leeds. And then we'll get to the penalty, shall we? We'll get to the penalty. A Stonewall penalty. Unbelievable. Not many Stonewall penalties in that game, were they? Not many. But that one was. Yeah, Dan James gets absolutely poleaxed by Marcus Alonso. 100% a penalty. And I actually thought at that point, because we're at Stamford Bridge, we're at one of the big boys. He was going to get. It actually went to VAR, which I thought was comical. It was absolutely comical. Alonso takes out Dan James. He's too quick for him. The ref's not brave enough to make a decision. It goes to VAR. They go through all these complications. It takes another 10 minutes for Leeds to actually put the ball on the spot and put it in the net. Rafinha with his stutter run up, which I actually think is excellent now. And I think Leeds United's record now, they've scored 16 of the last 16 penalties. Brilliant penalty record, which is excellent to see and hear, because, you know, in that forward line, we can be so quick and we can force teams into making tackles that they don't want to make in and around their box. We've got so many players in and around opposition's box which can cause problems. Rafinha, Dan James, Harrison, Roberts, obviously Bamford when he's back, but in terms of trickery and close control, and opposition players, you know, diving in, and that's exactly what happened. Marcus Alonso, you know, and dived in, and that was a penalty, great penalty by Leeds United, and it's 1-0. And I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't go nuts. You'll all be saying, why didn't you go nuts, Connor? Because we've taken the lead so many times and we've lost, haven't we? You know, we've taken a commanding position and we've lost. The eventuality of this is the exact same result, isn't it? It's the fact that we've lost from a winning position again. But, you know, there was a lot of positives today, but that is the, you know, if you look at objectively and you look at the quantitative end result, the numerical end result, Leeds lost the game. You know, we didn't pick up any points. So that is a massively frustrating part. And it didn't really credit how good our performance was on the day. And that's where I think a lot of Leeds fans are heartbroken and gutted by you know, the 3-2 loss today. But yeah, Rafinha converted the penalty, rightly deserved. I thought Chelsea were in it for the first sort of 10, 15 minutes, but then Leeds really came into it, started dominating the game. Tyler Roberts, we're going to get into him in a little bit, but getting the ball, opening his body, spreading it to Rafinha. There's actually, I don't know if you all caught it, Rafinha made an excellent run across the right-hand side of the defenders, went from sort of left to right, and Roberts just had to put that ball over the top. Rafinha was in, and he just got the pass all wrong. It went out for a throw in, but that was probably the worst thing he did on the day, to be quite frank with you. But yeah, first half was really impressive, and it was just soured. It was another mistake from Leeds, which is it's just so frustrating, because, you know, we're in an excellent position, get in at half time. We've seen this before, like Tottenham Hotspur, you know, Brentford, when we've been in at half time and we've lost the game, you know. But there was a different feel in this game. I thought Leeds were not dominant, but I thought the players looked like they were buoyed with confidence, which I think even against Tottenham, I think even against Brentford, you could see a few cracks. But in this game, it was almost just like, let's see what happens. Let's go. Let's have a little bit of a free-spirited performance, and let's see what we can do. And that's what it felt like, really. And from that respect, it was excellent. And then we just, Elan, I mean, the distribution needs to massively improve. And that's not directly on Elan Meslier, because I think his distribution is decent, but it's to what areas in the pitch are we distributing? It's always to the wide players who never win the header. It either goes out for a throw-in, or the wide player takes it down and he's intercepted straight away, because the winger's had time to anticipate where the ball's going, and he's going to be pressing Dallas, or he's going to be pressing Firpo on his first touch, or Luke Ayling, or whoever's at right back. He's going to be pressing on his first touch, because all these do from the goalkeeper is play it out wide. Now, for me, it's the same mistakes we're repeating over and over again, and the law of averages, Leeds going to start conceding a number of goals from this point, and it's exactly what happened today. The ball was played out from Elan Meslier, plays the ball to whoever, then to Dallas, and then Dallas isn't able to control it properly, and then they break, and then Elan's massively out of position. I don't know what he's doing for that Mount goal. The ball's pulled back. Nobody's on Mason Mount in the middle, which has been my bugbearer for a lot of Leeds goals, to be honest. You know, the prime example was Shandon Baptiste last week against Brentford, who was on his own on the edge of the box, bags of time, so much time. Brentford's second goal, Sergi Canos was just able to maraud through our defence. Nobody following him in this man-marking system. Nobody following him. And it felt like the same thing today. Mason Mount was just on his own in the box, and you can't leave Mason Mount there. And if we didn't want a certain player to score, it was Mason Mount. But he scored, and he made it 1-1. I just want to flash this up. Rudiger is a crybaby. He certainly is. That the pass was shocking and impossible for Dallas to control. Yeah, and it's difficult, isn't it? Because I know that Marcelo Bielsa is essentially instructing Leeds to do that, to play out from the back, to build from the wings. But since the days of Bailey Peacock Farrell, it's not worked. It doesn't work. Our players aren't big enough. We're not able to build attacks from those positions. We don't catch the opposition out. So I don't really understand the point in continuing with that. I don't know whether or not we can just split the centre backs and just go that way like we normally do, or go long and see what happens and really press in on the second balls. We're not going to win the first ball when it's Dan James, but can we win the second balls in the midfield? And that can be utilised from the goalkeeper's kick instead of just pinging it out wide for a throw-in or pinging it out wide for one of our fullbacks to control in a difficult position and for the opposition to intercept. Big Fish has come in and said, cheers, Connor from Thailand. Really good to see you, mate. Thank you for joining. Corrupt refs. Yeah, man. God, we'll get into it. Trust me, we'll get into it. So, obviously, Mason Mount scores, and then Leeds go into half-time. And naturally, if you've been catching my streams over the past, however many months, really, you'll have noticed that I've picked up on Leeds United in the second half. The start of the second half, from the 45th minute to the 61st minute, Leeds United have a horrendous record in terms of conceding goals. 50% of our goals conceded have been in that time period, which is very unusual because it's always just after half time. And if you note to when Leeds have lost leads, when we've just conceded goals outright, when we've given up something, it's been between that period. I don't really know what's going on. I don't know what's going on at half time, but it happened again today. Chelsea scoring the second goal, the fortuitous goal, within that period. And it was a penalty, and but I thought there was an improvement. I thought Leeds were confident. We didn't deserve. I didn't think to go 2-1 down. I thought we're the better team, but once again, it is that cutting edge, and that's always what's going to be put at Leeds' feet when we're not able to turn that possession into goals. Goal conversion, chance conversion, whatever. But yeah, it was Chelsea's first penalty I've got down here. Now it's a very difficult one, this. And listen, people will be disagreeing, all this sort of stuff, because nobody agrees on YouTube. Nobody agrees on social media anyway. Don't abuse each other. It's just, we've seen today with Matthias Click, don't abuse each other. It's just a comment. It's your opinion. Who cares? It's football. But ultimately, it's not a penalty, in my opinion. It's a fair tackle. He gets the ball. Rudiger's just waiting for it. The softest hard man you've ever met, by the way. The softest hard man you've ever met. Loves a chant about him when they all go, Rudy, 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 or whatever they do. And he loves it. He craves that. He's a soft hard man, mate. He's a soft hard man. That's what he is. 100%. He just loves it. He loves giving it the chance. Do you know what he reminds me of a little bit? And this isn't anything disparaging to Pontus Jansson, but he reminds me of him a little bit. He's a complete passion merchant. I'm probably going to get loads of Chelsea fans on this saying I'm rattled, but I'm not rattled. I don't think it's the right way of going about things, especially when, you concede that second penalty and he's smiling as if he's just conned the ref, and I just don't like that. I don't like that. I wouldn't say that's gamesmanship. I'd say it's on the verge of cheating, to be honest. But, and foul play a little bit. I don't like it. Especially with your fellow professionals who, you're all there for one reason, really. So I think the first penalty, Rafa didn't need to do it. And that is the big thing. And that's what irks me. Rudiger's waiting for him. He's waiting for him. There's several times where he could have whipped the ball into the box. He's in the penalty box, which he was doing a lot today, marauding forward. He was trying. He didn't get that much success in terms of open play. But he's waiting there and waiting for the contact. Big hard centre back, waiting for the contact. And Rafinha sort of dives in out of nowhere, and I didn't even see that coming. I'll be honest, I did not even see that coming. Rafinha sort of splits his legs, really, a little bit of a scissor. Not a scissor, because that makes it sound like aggressive, and if it was a deserved Stonewall penalty. But he wins the ball ultimately. His legs are splayed a little bit. He wins the ball. But it's sort of the height he goes in at for me. It's the height he goes in at, and there might have been a little bit where his both feet were off the ground. It's a fair tackle for me. It's soft. Rudiger goes around, hard man, again, fake hard man, rolling around with his ankle. The Chelsea fans go absolutely nuts, sorry. And if that's the other way, we're not appealing for it. We're not appealing for it because that's just, we wouldn't appeal for that. We know what our squad's like. And I think they'd be right in that. They wouldn't appeal for it. And we wouldn't get it at Stamford Bridge. Absolutely no chance. No chance of we getting that. They deliberated. The Dan James one. They sat there and they go into VAR. The referee looks a little bit undecided on what he's given, all this sort of stuff, because the Chelsea players getting in his face and all this sort of stuff. And then you see the replay back and he's just clattered Dan James. But this one, Rudiger's rolling around on the floor, as per usual, which you saw in that game. And yeah, he gives the penalty. And yeah, I can understand. My point is, Rafinha didn't need to do it. He didn't need to do it. That's my point. Rudiger's going nowhere. It's a packed box full of Leeds players. He didn't need to do it. He sort of dived in a little bit strangely. I don't think it was a penalty, but he gave the referee a decision to make, and he didn't need to do that. And that's silly decision making from Rafinha. Gives it. Jorginho steps up with the Rafinha-esque penalty, scores. And then you're thinking to yourself, it's an uphill task here because Chelsea have one of the best defences in Europe. I think they had the best defence in Europe not long ago. Yeah, so, sorry guys, I'm just reading some of your comments. A lot of people saying that they're corrupt, all this sort of stuff. We need to learn the art of game management really quickly, Connor. Yeah, and I would agree with Nigel here. I just think sometimes Rafinha didn't need to do it. Rudiger's going nowhere. He's in the box. As I say, we packed it out, and it just seems to like dive in, and you're always going to get a Chelsea player in front of their cop end rolling around, when they're struggling to get a second goal. And he made that decision, Rafinha, and exactly like Nigel says, the decision making and the game management is a problem with Leeds. We're not just talking about Chelsea. We're talking about Brentford. We're talking about teams like that. We're talking about Norwich. I know we came back to win, but they still got an equaliser straight away. We're talking about Leicester. And this is what I'm referring to. Just Chelsea's a little bit of a, it's been blown up because it's in the last minute. That's what it is. But yeah, I think I can understand why the referee gave it, but I'm not fully convinced really. Anyway, so yeah, we got into it anyway. And then the second half was, once again, we were good. We were good again. Leeds were good again in the second half. I thought we, as I said, in those first 15 minutes, I thought we were decent. We built into the game, and Luke Ayling was making some really good runs centrally. And we were the better team. I just thought we were the better team. XG will say something else, whatever. But I don't, I take stats. Of course I do. You take stats, goal and assists and all this sort of stuff. And I understand that. But XG is very dependent on what certain individuals deem a very good chance. And that's very subjective. So I don't take XG numbers completely into account. But I do look at the game. And I think Leeds were the better team. We were trying to force the action. And so many points of contention for Leeds with the decision making in the final third. I thought sometimes we really could have broken through them when we didn't. And then this guy, Joffy goal, and as I put on here, the confidence building beforehand, he should have been on before. Listen, there was a point where he was getting stripped off, and it looked like Rafinha was going off. I'm praying, by the way, Rafinha's not out. We've not heard anything on that yet. I'm hoping Rafinha's fine for the City game. We don't know what's going on there, but he seemed to go off. But he struck a free kick before he went off, so he seemed all right. Hopefully, they're just protecting him. But yeah, and I think Leeds were good up until that point. Joffy came on. I thought he should have come on earlier, to be honest with you. I was looking at the 65th, 70th mark, and I thought, we haven't got any cutting edge here. We're never going to score. Joffy comes on, and the second goal's brilliant. The second goal is absolutely brilliant. Matthias Klick. Lovely little ball through. Tyler Roberts, again, cracking ball in, and Joffy's there. And that's it. It's the instinctive striker. It's the striker getting in and behind the centre-backs. I said the criticism I have with Joffy is the fact that he doesn't stay in the box as often as I'd like. He's a little bit of a Harry Kane. He comes out, he tries to draw players out, receives the ball deep. And that for me, that's a cam. That's a central attacking midfielder. Don't do that. Stay in the box. He stayed in the box for this. Fantastic predatorial instinct. Knocked it in. Pandemonium. Absolute pandemonium. Definitely deserved. Leeds deserved a point out of that. And then we get this. We see Charlie Cresswell coming on, Lukaku coming on at the same time, and then they get this second penalty. Now, this second penalty is, and I'd like to say as well, congratulations to Joffy, because great assist for Roberts. Joffy gets it, and we deserved it. We deserved it, and I thought it was a cracking goal. We didn't concede a bad goal today in terms of open play. For me, three round mistakes really, weren't they? But two were penalties. The Champions League winners needed two penalties, two very contentious penalties to beat Leeds United. But yeah, it's one of those where the last one for me, Matthias Klick. By the way, people have been abusing Klick on Twitter and atting him and abusing him. Grow up. Seriously. You don't need to at him. You got an opinion on him. I'll say my opinion on Matthias Klick. You don't at him. There's no need to do that. So don't be doing that. But Klick came on. I don't think he was good. I don't think he was good. I've said to you guys before, I would have had Lewis Bate on. For anybody who's turning around and saying to me they're too young, the confidence must be damaged. What did Joe Gelhardt come and do? Scored. Right. Okay. So, if they're good enough and all that, I'd have brought Lewis Bate on there. I thought his technical presence in the midfield would have been able to help Leeds offensively, and I think he'd have been able to help us defensively as well in getting the ball, moving it between transitions. I thought he'd have been really nice in there. Click came on. I don't think Click's been great this season. He's another out of former, and I thought he was sluggish throughout the game, to be quite honest with you. And it reminded me a lot of when Liverpool got the penalty in the last minute, when at the start of last season when we lost 4-3. Rodrigo came on, was really sluggish and gave away a penalty. Click was just giving the ball away. Simple passes, he was mucking up and getting tackled by Loftus-Cheek in there and Jorginho. I didn't think he was great when he came on. I think I've had a quick look at the stats as well, which I've lost now, but they weren't great for Matthias Click. For me, with the Rudiger one, it's soft again. It's soft again. Knees falling on the floor again. Once again, this big hard centre back who loves a fight and loves, tapping his chest whenever they start singing Rudy and all that rubbish. This big hard centre back fell to the floor like a sack of potatoes. It's not a penalty at all. It's not a penalty. But Click didn't need to dangle a leg. Didn't need to dangle. He's going nowhere. He's not goal side of you. He didn't need to dangle a leg. Okay. And this isn't me agreeing with both decisions, by the way. What I'm saying is our players' decisions are forcing the referee to make a decision. And we notoriously know that the referees in this country are diabolical in comparison to those over Europe. Hence why in the European Championships, the World Cups, it's a minimal amount of English referees there, and the rest of them are from the continent. And I just thought it's such a soft decision. I couldn't believe how soft it was, but I didn't think Click needed to dangle a leg at all. And it was a bit of a lazy dangle as well. I understand he was trying to get the ball, but in that circumstance, you don't need to try and get the ball. Just shield him. Push, try irk him out of the box. You don't need to try win the ball in that position. He's facing towards his goal. He's not going anywhere with it. We were in a really good defensive structure. And as I said, it's the exact same sort of situation as Rodrigo away at Liverpool last season. It's a silly decision to make. I don't agree with the decision at all. And it's soft. And if Leeds, once again, that'd have been us, we wouldn't have got it. That's not crying wolf. That's not Leeds. We've already seen examples of it this season. Dan James gets poleaxed against Newcastle. We didn't get anything. That's the most stonewall penalty I've ever seen. And Leeds could have been, 2 points better off right now and in a better position. So, just having a look at the few of your comments, guys. Vic Vinegar says Shadow Wolf Click has been poor in the last 1.5 years. We've been in the Prem, mate. Maybe watch a game for once. There we go. Strange comment that was. Maybe not have been directed at me, to be fair. Would never criticize a player for wearing a Leeds shirt. Everyone can make a mistake. We're one of the teams that never have any luck, and we don't have any luck, to be quite honest with you. James says, got to love the top 6 bias from the referees. I'd 100% agree with that. I think that Vic and Shadow Wolf are having a go at each other here. Guys, just chill out in the comments, yeah? You don't need to be getting at each other if you're both Leeds fans. But there was definitely some positives there. But yeah, Chelsea get the penalty, they score, and it's heartbreak for Leeds. It's absolute heartbreak. We didn't deserve it. It was the best, and I've got it on here as well. I thought it was the performance of the season. We've not seen many 90-minute performances, but to go against the European champions when we barely have any players able for selection, a lot of, for some reason, people in the comment section who are Leeds fans are saying that, we've still got big players there. Well, does that validate us getting a result player for player against the champions of Europe? No, it doesn't. Do we have a better chance when we've got our key players on the pitch against the champions of Europe? Well, yes, it does. So, yeah, missing stone walls in our team. Our leading striker came on last week and scored straight away after being out for 9 games. He would have made a massive difference today. Chelsea were there for the taking. They were there for the taking. They were not good. They were whinging about players being out as well, but they have, the difference is they can bring 40, 50 million pound players on. You saw our bench, which is a disgrace in the Premier League, and this is why we need to do something in January. But yeah, so that's how it is. Junior Firpo, special mention to him. I thought he was absolutely excellent. I thought he was absolutely excellent today. Really good, aggressive, good going forwards. Leeds were decent on that left-hand side. He was aggressive. And that moves me on to my next point. Tyler Roberts, we've not spoken about him yet. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. This is what we want. Output, production, end results. This is what we want. Advanced role today. I thought he was excellent. And that's twice on the trot now. Goal against Brentford. Assist today. That's output. That's production. Not on about ball progressions. I'm talking about final product as an attacker. That is what you get judged on at the end of the season, the end of the game, the end of your career. You'll get judged on ball progressions. Do you ever hear, Roy Keane talking about the amount of ball progressions he had over his 20-year span at Manchester United? You don't, do you? No, that doesn't happen. It's on goals and assists. And I thought he was fantastic today in moving Leeds between the transitions. Thought he was silky in possession. He was aggressive. Some great tackles going in as well. One that went in on Werner where he's rolling around as well. Unbelievable. Rolling around as if, Tyler Roberts has ended his career. He hadn't. He just won the ball. And I thought he was fantastic today. I thought he was really, really good. And these are the performances I'm liking seeing from Tyler Roberts. I thought he was good against Crystal Palace. I thought he was good against Brentford. And this is what we're liking, because we need that. We've shown a lot of faith in Tyler Roberts. And I understand he's young, but there needs to be more end game. And I thought today he produced an excellent assist for Joe Gelhardt. A really good, excuse me. Let's get rid of this clown. There we go. Boom. But yeah, let's have a look at some more of your guys' comments. Reece James, another one, yellow or red card. Okay, well, my point to that, my answer to that is, Reece James went in really aggressively. Dan James does a flip somersault. Would it have been given the other way as a red if they're all going nuts and then it goes to VAR and Mike Dean's just deciding to be controversial again? There's the question. But yeah, my negative takeaways: 3 goals, unforced errors. There were Leeds United mistakes. The breakthrough, sometimes the offsides. We had a fair few offsides in that second half when we were in really good positions, and I just thought that was poor from Leeds. But guys, I think the overriding takeaway is we had to get something from that. It's positive. It is definitely positive. And I'm taking a lot going into the Manchester City game. But I just think with the amount of output, the amount of expenditure, the amount of energy we put into that game, Leeds just had to get something, even a point. And, when Leeds are nicking a point in the 86th, 87th minute, Gelhardt scored, Delirium would bring on a centre-back. And they nick one. I know they're the champions of Europe. I understand that. But I just think sometimes it's not just the Chelsea game, which is an example of that. We've let so many leads go this season. And it was amplified today because we lost it in the last minute. But the game management from our side just has to be better. It has to start getting better because I don't think even the players are confident going 1-0 up now that they're going to see out the game. Once again, I've got here the youngsters might be hampered by. I had a lot of people saying in the previous video, don't start Bate, don't start Joffrey, because their confidence might be hampered if it's a bad performance. I think Bate would have been fantastic today, proving something against his old club. And I think even if Joffrey had started today, we saw his impact from the bench, but I think even if he'd have started, he'd have caused them an absolute host of problems. Imagine the combination between Roberts, Rodrigo and Gelhardt from the start today. It'd have been absolutely frightening. But yeah, as I said, the midfield wasn't breached as much. I maybe would have liked to see, just based on form at the minute with Jack Harrison, I would have liked to have seen Somerville out there. It might be a bit of a out there shout really. But what I would have liked to have seen in terms of Somerville is, if Somerville isn't starting, Somerville can come off the bench. And I think that's a big thing, but I don't think Harrison really got to that next level today. And maybe Dan James should have been out there and Gelhardt should have been starting up top. I think that would have been more of the realistic one. We've got down here Rudiger soft hard man, the softest hard man I've ever come across whilst watching football. I just want to give a massive shout out as well to I just want to give a massive shout to the insane atmosphere. Apparently there was 40,000 Chelsea fans there. I didn't see any of them. Didn't hear any of them, I should say. Leeds fans were absolutely brilliant. The referee deserves a 1 out of 10. You could just tell he was going to bottle a few decisions today, and he did. It wasn't strong enough, in my personal opinion, and was just given everything that the crowd sort of shouted for, which is natural. And you just lose sort of a lot of respect for the referee when they're not basing it on what's going on the pitch, and they're just going off what's going on off the pitch in terms of the atmosphere influencing them. But I think positively, we've seen a upturn in performances. Spurs, the first half was good, second half was abysmal. Palace, I thought overall it was decent. I thought it was one of the better performances this season. We saw the Brentford capitulation in the second half, but the first half was very good. It was one of the better first halves we've had. And then today was good across the 90. Leicester was good across the 90 as well. We need to start putting more performances in like this where we're competing, even if it is against the big boys, just competing. And I think we'll start seeing a lot of end results. Adam Forshaw was excellent again, but we're just saying that week in, week out now, aren't we? Because of he's just fabulous, Adam Forshaw. I'm so impressed by him. But what I will say is we've now got Firpo, Roberts, Rafinha, Shackleton, Llorente all on 4 cards, which with the injury problems we have, Calvin Phillips, Pascal Strout, Liam Cooper, Patrick Bamford, you're looking at, hopefully they're all not going to go out at one point, but Junior Firpo is picking up yellow cards like there's no tomorrow. He's steaming through yellow cards. I think that's 3 yellow cards in his last 3 performances. He needs to start tapering up his challenging, I think. But guys, listen, we'll be back with the debrief. Make sure 650 of you do like the video. I really appreciate it. I wanted to keep this short. We've got a lot to talk. We had a lot to talk through. I really appreciate your time. Have a great rest of the weekend, and I'll see you in a bit. Cheers.